Should you get the iPhone 12 mini here in 2025? So the iPhone 12 mini came out back in 2020, and it's definitely one of my favorite modern phones because of how tiny and portable it is. And in this video, I'll be explaining to you whether or not it's still worth buying almost 6 years later. So first off, we'll be covering the design, and then we'll talk about the specs and whether or not it's still worth buying. So starting off with the design, the iPhone 12 mini, as you might have noticed, is a very tiny smartphone. And if we hold it up next to the iPhone 8 Plus, which is about the same size as modern smartphones, you'll see just how tiny this iPhone is. And also some of the other design features is that it has a square body and the back is made out of glass. At the bottom, we don't have a headphone jack, and it does still use the Lightning connector instead of USB-C. And yeah, that's basically all there is to know about the design of the iPhone 12 mini. So let's now talk about the battery life of this device. So the battery on the iPhone 12 mini isn't all that good. You'll see here that it's about 2200 milliamp hours. And for comparison, modern smartphones like the iPhone 16 Pro, for example, has about 3600 milliamp hours. However, one of the upsides to this device are the speeds, because the iPhone 12 mini actually comes with 4 gigabytes of RAM. And for comparison, the latest iPhone 16 Pro has 8 gigabytes. And it also has the Apple A14 processor, which is pretty decent. And it also comes with 64, 128, and 256 gigabytes of storage, which for most of you should be enough. Now moving on to the camera quality of the iPhone 12 mini, both the front camera and the rear cameras on the iPhone 12 mini have the same resolution. So they're all 12 megapixels and they record at up to 4K 60, but the front camera is obviously lower quality than the rear cameras. Now, as for the display, here's everything you need to know about the iPhone 12 mini display. So as I've already mentioned earlier in the video, the iPhone 12 mini is one of the smallest modern smartphones that there are. So the screen size is only 5.4 inches diagonally. And for comparison, the iPhone 16 Pro Max has a 6.9 inch display. And some of the other stuff that you need to know is that the iPhone 12 mini has a 2340 by 1080p display. So you could watch videos at up to 1080p. And this is actually really good considering how tiny the display is. And here's everything else that you need to know about the iPhone 12 mini display. So if you want to look at anything else, just pause the video if you need to. Now the last thing that we need to talk about for the specs of the iPhone 12 mini is the software support. So as you can see here, it does still get the latest iOS 18 updates. And my best guess is that it'll still get the latest iOS updates for the next 2 to 3 years. So maybe up until around 2027, it'll be discontinued. So that's all there is for the specs of the iPhone 12 mini. Let's now talk about whether or not it's still worth buying. So for most of you, I would say it is still worth buying, unless if the battery life is a big issue. Then otherwise, I could recommend getting an iPhone 12, or you could just get a battery case. And if camera is a big deal to you, then you could also consider the 12 Pro. But for most of you, definitely go for the iPhone 12 mini. And if you want to know where to get it, I would recommend either going on backmarket.com, or you could also go on eBay. So on Back Market, you could get it for about 200 bucks. And on eBay, if you get it used, you could buy it for about 170 to 180 bucks. So that's basically all there is for this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out my channel to see more videos like this in the future. And if you have any other video suggestions, make sure to write them in the comments below.